Hey, before we start this episode, I want to say thank you to everyone who subscribed. We're now well over 1,000 subscribers. It means so much to me. We're going to try to do so much in 2024. We're going to have a lot more regular videos, a lot more discussions. This is the place to meet to talk about cool records. This is the place to come. So please subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, like the videos. Go back and watch some of the videos that we made a couple years ago. You might find something really cool in that discussion. And I'm so excited about what's going to happen with this channel in 2024. It's the future is wide open. All right, roll that beautiful bean footage. Hello, vinyl lovers. We're back up here in the vinyl attic. We're now in our second 25 of our 100 albums that should be in your collection. We're up here on a cold January night. Got a little bit of Bailey's in the coffee. I'm just saying, we're expecting a snowstorm at any minute to hit us here in Portland, Oregon. So we're pre-warming. We're pre-warming with some good coffee and some good music. And you know, we haven't done a country music album yet. And it's funny when you think about country music is that we often don't think about country music as an album format. When you look at the greatest albums of all time, there's very few country albums in there. We think of country music as sort of songs and singles and greatest hits packages. Johnny Cash at Folsom Prison, 1968, is sort of the one album that ends up on everybody's list. We want to talk about something that also fits a really good album format that's in the country genre and should be included. These are the next 25 albums of our 100 that should be in your collection if you want to have a really cool collection that doesn't have all the usual suspects in it. That's what we've been doing. So I'm happy to pick out an album that is something that I fell in love with. Speaking of Johnny Cash, this is Johnny Cash's daughter, Rosanne Cash. And we're going to talk about her 1987 album, King's Record Shop. Look at there, right there in front of a record store. She's not actually standing in front of the record store. She was photoshopped in. But this is a really great album. Rosanne Cash kind of made her mark with her third album that was on Columbia in 1981, 7-Year Ache, that went straight to number one on the record charts. All of a sudden, Johnny Cash's daughter was sort of out and an artist in her own. She had partnered and married a really great songwriter named Rodney Crowell, who was her partner in life as well as in making music. And that record was just such a great record. 1981, working in a record store and playing that record and having permission to like contemporary country music. You can like Hank Williams and the old stuff, but contemporary music in 1981 in the country genre was like Alabama. And it was not very cool. The Oak Ridge Boys, Elvira, not very cool. And then Rosanne Cash came out and made it cool. And what made it cool was her artistic integrity and her singing from a very strong female perspective. And it's something that is often left out of our discussions of country music. Country music is often seen as like good old boy music and inherently right-wing with Confederate flags flying. And there's a lot of strong women in country music, including, of course, Loretta Lynn, who was a feminist without ever using the word. And, of course, Dolly Parton and even some of the Tammy Wynette stuff had strong female empowerment themes to it. But we really get this happening in the 1980s with sort of the new generation of female country singers, of which I would put Rosanne Cash at the top. One of the things that makes this record great is the great variety of songs. She worked with Benmont Tench from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, as well as Rodney Crowell. She records one of her daddy's songs, Tennessee Flat Top Box. But the opening track are sort of two songs on this I want to highlight. One is the opening track, which is Rosie Strike Back. Rosie Strike Back is about domestic violence, something certainly not just in the country music world, in all worlds, unfortunately, we see violence against women in a domestic context. This was a song about getting out. This is before the Dixie Chicks did Goodbye Earl and about taking care of your abuser with some Poison Black Eyed Peas. This is about getting your kid and the clothes on your back and getting the heck out of there before he kills you. And it was kind of, when it came out, a little push some buttons. I mean, we weren't using words like woke in those days, thank God. But it was, this notion of empowering women to stand up for themselves through this narrative of the song. And it had a significant impact. As someone who was just sort of a young sociologist at the time, I thought, I could go to punk rock for my sociology and my political content, or I could go to country music. It's right here. And so that element in this record, it starts it off on a very different note for country music. There were 4 singles on this record that blasted to the top of the country charts, including This Is the Way to Mend a Broken Heart. Country music will always give us sad songs. Songs for the heartbroken, songs for the left behind, songs for the people that are just drinking whiskey in their coffee. Baileys. There's always that. I think I discovered country music really not from growing up in the South, but from the first heartbreak I went into, and then I just sort of dove headlong into the Hank Williams collection and just cried my eyes out. I'm so lonesome I could cry. What Elvis called the saddest song ever written. But there's another song on here called The Real Me. And it wasn't a single. It wasn't one of the 4 singles. And it's a song about recognizing your patterns. That you are sort of a slave to your behavior patterns, and they create problems in your life. And then suddenly there's a moment, a aha moment, a light bulb moment, a zeitgeist moment, where you sort of realize you got to change things. You got to change things and leave that past persona behind. That person that was sort of trapped by their emotions and their patterns and their thoughts. And then you can emerge out of it like the ugly duckling becoming a swan, or somebody sort of emerging out of a cocoon. That there is this sort of you that is behind all the drama, the real me. Here's the real me coming out of her past, as she sings in the song. That is, that's a kind of, you don't get sort of psychotherapy in a lot of music, especially in the country genre, but it's a real inner look at, are we who we have been? Are we always going to be, they say the leopard can't change its spots. Once a cheat, always a cheat, all that kind of stuff, like that there's no hope for change. This Real Me song, to me, was the first time when I heard it, just loving the sound of her voice and the instrumentation and the sort of analog quality of her records. They're not like super digital like a lot of contemporary country music that tries to be au courant. It's really, really organic sounding. To have this conversation about, man, I was screwed up, but this is me now, and I'm leaving that person behind, and I hope this person gets to meet that person, and don't judge me by my past. I think about this now as we're heading into a political career. Every politician has some crap in their past. I love when they bring up stuff from Biden from, 100 years ago, and like, well, that proves he's a racist. Yeah, we all have like these horrible things in our past, and the goal is to emerge and become a better person and leave that past person behind. Runaway Train is another great song on here. Fast-moving country music song. Her sort of tribute to her father on here by doing Tennessee Flat Top Box. It's just a really, really solid record. And I'm really interested in what your country music album is. We're going to take Johnny Cash Live at Folsom out of the running, because I would like somewhere before we get to album 100 to have at least one more country music album in this count of 100 albums that should be in your collection. I want to know. Leave it down in the comments what your favorite country music album, not artist, not song, not single, but if you have a country music album that you feel like is a complete artistic statement. This is a complete artistic statement. I really feel like you know the artist Rosanne Cash by listening to this record. In the early 2000s or mid 2000s, she had another great album called The List, which is based on a list of songs her father gave her. That these are the songs that you should know. These are the songs that they should be in your wheelhouse to sing, and you should learn them. Elvis Costello's on it, Bruce Springsteen's on it, Jeff Tweedy from Wilco is on it, Rufus Wainwright's on it. It's a really great record, one of her later collections, a little bit more recent. But this record, I I never get tired of playing this album. It's, you know, it's something that you might not expect, but I'm telling you, if you see this on vinyl, pick it up. It's really great. And when you listen to The Real Me, if you've struggled with your internal demons and trying to let go of your past habits, you will shed a tear. You will shed a tear. Just listening to Hank Williams, you will shed a tear to this record. I love this album. I will never get tired of playing it. Okay, so there we are. We're on our second 25. Next, we have another female artist coming up. I'm really excited to finally talk about Kate Bush. Finally. We're going to do that soon. But first, before that, we're going to take a little detour. And we're going to ask a musical question. Why Taylor Swift? Why? What is this phenomenon that seems to just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger? It seems like every turn there's more Swift mania happening. We got someone who knows a little bit about Taylor Swift as a guest on our next episode. We're gonna really try to figure out, can you be cool and like Taylor Swift? Can you be a music nerd and have the Minutemen and Husker Du in your collection, and also have some Taylor Swift in your collection? We're gonna dive into that important discussion. So be sure to subscribe. Be with us next time, because this music matters. Rosanne Cash matters. This song, The Real Me, matters. You matter. So let's talk about it.